But even as the universe beckons us to explore, it also challenges us with its incomprehensible distances and staggering voids.
We have learned more about our universe in the last 40 years than in all of recorded history. We are discovering how to survive this final frontier, where danger can be hidden in a rock the size of your fist.
You're watching a whole night's worth of the comet squeezed down by time-lapse photography. Now, Cynthia, wow. I know you've been watching it every night. You never saw it like that, though, did you?
No, you can't miss it.
Yeah, it's hard to miss. Even in the bright lights of Manhattan, sometimes you can see it at night or in the morning, depending on when it was. Look how bright it is. But you're wondering what those little streaks of light that go by? Yeah, I've got the answer for you. Those are actually airplanes that are passing by. Wow, and the sun comes up. Incredible pictures taken for us from New Mexico.
This low light level camera in the cargo bay of Atlantis, showing the running lights of the Mir space station as Atlantis begins to pull away from it.
From the sun.
We're threatened by a power from outer space, from another planet. Wouldn't we all of a sudden find that we didn't have any differences between us at all? We were all human beings, citizens of the world, and wouldn't we come together to fight that particular threat?
Visitors from outer space.
I occasionally think how quickly our differences worldwide would vanish if we were facing an alien threat from outside this world.
And in Belfast, Ireland, President Clinton recently stated, "As far as I know, an alien spacecraft did not crash in Roswell, New Mexico in 1947. If the U.S. Air Force did recover any alien bodies, they didn't tell me about it either, and I want to know." Astronaut Story Musgrave feels that whether or not the government has covered up the existence of UFOs, our nation is ready to handle the truth, whatever that might be.
I think the public is ready to accept any information. I think the public is ready to know if anyone has visited us. They can accept that, and they want it.
Information had not been forthcoming to the National Security Council. I do believe that there should be that doubt should be resolved in favor of disclosure to the National Security Council of essential national security information.
President Bush's policy of long-standing is not to comment on or engage in speculation about alleged classified programs of any kind.
It should have known an Iraqi ammunition storage complex blown up by U.S. troops after the Gulf War likely contained chemical weapons and should have passed that assessment to U.S. commanders.
We should have done better.
As recently as 2 months ago, the CIA claimed it had no intelligence in 1991.
Reminds me of some people's obsession with UFOs, and there isn't anything to be hushed up about.
Substantiate the existence of UFOs, and we are not harboring remains of UFOs.
We're setting that up, Dave. We'll try to zoom in here with the camera alpha.
Again, this is a view of the satellite.
Well, if it had to break, it did it in the right place.
Does exist.
Some of them are in human bodies.
Yes, of course.
Extraordinary, I mean something perhaps of genuine interest to science, such as some kind of insect manifestations. And the pity is that such perhaps genuinely interesting phenomena are being glossed over and camouflaged.
I can't really recall what those visits were about. Nothing was tremendously earth-shaking according to my memory, but I'm afraid that I wasn't maybe quite up to pinning things down.
Forward into America. Because this nation will decide the destiny of the world.
And see what they have to say, because the Air Force no longer does any investigation of UFOs.
Give us any hint, without violating any sense of confidential nature, what kinds of things might be happening?
Sir, I cannot. Forgive me. I just do not know.
Is there anyone in the Air Force that can?
I'm going to have to defer that to public affairs. It's outside of my area of expertise. Forgive me, but it's just outside of my area of expertise. I have no other explanation. I'm sorry. I have no other explanation. I'm looking at the facts as we have studied them, and I have no other explanation for that but what I've already given. We've reviewed all the relevant information, and we have finished this, and we're not going to revisit it.
That the Air Force could have missed something in its...
And on the other hand, the low end, there's also a relatively bright spot, which is maybe an accumulation of
has begun his first orbital ride around the Earth.
The sun's going all over the sky. This is Friendship 7. Now let me tell you what I'm in up here. I'm in a mass of some very small particles that are brilliantly lit up like they're luminescent.
Then John started going on and on about something outside his window.
This is Friendship 7. I am in a big mass of some very small particles that are brilliantly lit up like they're luminescent.
I tell you what I'm going to try to do. I'm going to try to get some pictures of these little guys.
Sounds like a good idea, Friendship 7.
Well, you guys all probably think I'm nuts down there.
But John Glenn was so enamored with the view of Earth that he also took these snapshots using a camera he'd bought in a Cocoa Beach drugstore.
Forth the feeling, the human experience of being in space, understand the unknowns of space, like John Glenn's fireflies.
It's hard to realize this now. There were so many unknowns in the early days. And this is a fact of the matter. We were really not sure after John flew whether or not there were critters, living critters out there somewhere.
I have the fireflies, almost like a light snowflake particle. Appear to glow, but I don't believe they.
We have researched the Air Force projects and the Air Force information for these year groups. We have nothing else to say about them. You know, we don't believe there's anything else. I have no way of even vaguely believing there's anything else.
Do you believe in UFOs?
Personally, no, sir.
Why not?
Ma'am, I have no reason to believe that they're real.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
And we have a lot of people that are pretty satisfied with the Bible's reflection of the creation and of time. And
this is more than top secret, as he said. It's beyond that. It's within my priority as deputy to George Kennedy, and he in turn responsible to the president. This is the highest priority you could exist, and you will say nothing in that vision of it. And Jesus, that's from the commander-in-chief, and you forgot about it.
There are matters touching on national security, that there would be a willingness